Day 2 on the G2 Ozark Trail. This bike is perfectly fine the way it is. This might be the ideal drop bar under a G, even though these are the only bikes I've ridden. But for the price, the barrier to entry is still way lower than it would be if you bought a gravel bike from some of the other brands. Bootleg bike lane, barely any shoulder. Make sure you're in the line of sight, so when you make your move, the car will see. Oh gosh, this is terrible. I'm about to go down. This is a legit bootleg bike lane. How can you be legit and bootleg? Well, first, way you do that is you don't change the infrastructure. You just use the shoulder that's already there, put the bike lane signage on some poles, and draw a little bike on a road. Yo, party people, what's going on? Day 2 on the G2 Ozark Trail. Doing a commute to the train. So, if you haven't seen my first video on this bike, I highly recommend you do. This bike is way better than the G1 out the box. Woo! And truthfully, no real upgrades needed, in my opinion. I think you're just fine like this, especially if you're not like a super competitive cyclocross rider, gravel bike rider, or what have you. This bike is perfectly fine the way it is. Only thing I would change for me would be the pedals. Change the pedals, possibly the seat, but the seat is all right so far. But if you're not used to sitting on bicycle seats, you're definitely gonna probably have a problem with the seat. Most bicycle seats, if you don't ride bicycle seats that much. In that case, see if you spend some time on some bike seats, or you grab some bike pants that are padded. That'll help you out with that situation. Other than that though, this bike is great. The geometry is better on this, mostly because the seat tube height is way longer than the seat tube height of the G1. So this has a little bit of a taller stance in the front end, which feels a whole lot better when you're riding around. Before, not only was it long, but it was extra low on the G1, which made for a very uncomfortable ride. My workaround for that on the G1 was to get a shorter stem, and I added a spacer to make the stem sit higher up on the forks. So that was my workaround on that bike. Or you can get a top load stem, top load BMX stem will bring the height up a little bit more too. Or whatever mountain bike stem that points up a little bit. But for me, I need something I can really beat up in case I choose to get busy. So yeah, just that little bit of an improvement alone in geometry makes this bike a whole lot better, a way better ride, more comfortable, all that good stuff. So even with this long stem on the bike, I don't feel so far forward, so crouched down, so uncomfortable. The other thing I probably would do is put a shorter stem on, just to give me a little bit more, a little bit less of a reach, a little bit more comfort. But other than that though, it's not much else I would do to this bike. It actually makes me like drop bars better. The G1 made me continue my dislike for drop bars. This one here actually makes me like drop bars better than what I thought before. So I can't be mad at that. Let's make a track stand. Track stand. Track stand. It's different track standing on a road bike, you know, a drop bar, but it's a little more difficult. I do have my hands on this part of the bike. Probably been better off if I was on the more upright part of the bike. Go, guy. Go, 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 people, go. There you go. Alright. So, definitely has a little better response when it comes to sprinting. Trying to sprint from zero. That felt pretty good. It felt pretty responsive there. So that was even good. My legs are kind of burnt out from yesterday. I was doing the most. And I haven't been riding for a couple of days. And the gear ratio on my BMX bike, my 20-inch, is a lot easier than the gear I'm on right now, which is great. So when I go back on my 20, that gear is going to feel super easy. So my next thing is to really go to like the BMX track, see how my gate starts are on my 20. Woo. Bike is real stable. Could ride no-handed, no problems. Doing a little climb right here. I love the drivetrain. Way better than the G1. Of course, I haven't done any maintenance to my G1 when it comes to the drivetrain. So I'm sure that my drivetrain on my G1 can be improved. But this drivetrain is way better. No chain slapping. When you hit a curb, I can backpedal without a problem. So this is way better. The shifting is better. It's just overall better bike. So definitely still, even though you spend a lot of more money, you're still getting a lot of bang for your buck. A whole lot. A whole lot. And then overall, it's just a way more enjoyable ride on this bike. If you're like a casual rider looking for something a little better, that won't really break your bank, and that'll last, this might be the one right here. Whew. This might be the one, son. It definitely encourages you to ride this bike right here. The one issue I do have, and it's just an adjustment I probably have to make, is sometimes my gear does slip. Sometimes it'll slip. And also, it's a 1x, not a 2x. I think I have 10 in the back. Still haven't checked that. I'll throw it up in the video. So the gear spread is way better. Changing gears is not so abrupt as it is on a G1. So I really like that part. So it's not like I'm going from super easy to super hard. I could find a pretty decent in-between gear when I change my gears. Give my climb on now. Woo! Trying to build that strength up in my legs. Got the wind blowing against me a little something something. A little something something. Not much. But I definitely I can definitely feel it. Along with the wind, along with the hill actually. This is kind of like an uphill climb going all the way up. But it's not that bad. It's not treacherous. Or one of those long drawn out ones that just wear you down eventually. This one has like its little peaks, little valleys. Not too bad on this block. Whew. The other thing is the tires on this bike are more street friendly than dirt friendly. They're okay, the dirt, if it's packed. Once it gets a little loose though, I lose confidence in these tires. Whew. Oh yeah. Let's get on the sidewalk. Yeah. Seems like it's a little bit more agile when it comes to turning and stuff. Seems like it's ready to go. I rode around halfway for most of my ride yesterday. I didn't have a lot of air in my tire. Didn't realize it. So I got to the trails and was jumping. So now I got a lot of air in my tire. This thing is just coasting. Super responsive. Whew. Oh yeah. Ready for some action. Yeah. Let's see how it is on this turn. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Nice. Let's go, homie. Getting some nice sidewalk action. No shoulder over here, so it's way safer to ride on the sidewalk instead of put yourself in harm's way. Stay right on the sidewalk. Ain't nobody walking on this bad boy. Okay, this section here, a little zigzag action going on. Oh. Woo, woo, yeah, nice. Okay. Yeah, bike's ready for action, ready to go, ready to turn, ready for whatever. For whatever. Let's hop on the sidewalk over here. Woo. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. And another beautiful day. Nice and warm, but not crazy humid out. So I'm loving that. I'm loving that. Whew. Definitely a good workout. All right. So now we're getting on portion. Portion. Let's get some speed going. Glass. All right, step it up a notch. The shifting is amazing on this bike in comparison to the G1. Whew. Oh boy. Okay. Killing myself. So now we're climbing again. That was a little bit of a downhill back there. And here, there's a little bit of a climb. Woo! Oh yeah. I like the handlebars on this bike better. A little wider. Seems like when you haven't, when you hold them like this. Water. And then when you hold them like this, they definitely feel wider. Whew. Oh boy. Yeah, this is a lot to like about this bike. So I'm curious if they're gonna do G2 Rebel flat bar. I wonder if that's in the works. That's gonna be crazy. That'll probably be the ideal gravel bike under $1,000. The ideal flat bar gravel bike under a G. This might be the ideal drop bar under a G. Even though these are the only bikes I've ridden. But for the price, the barrier to entry is still way lower than it would be if you bought a gravel bike from some of the other brands. A lot of those bikes start at like $2,000, $1,700. Not that they're not worth it. They probably have better parts, maybe. That's probably closer to the actual cost for a company, a small company or a big company who doesn't have the distribution like Walmart or the money like Walmart to buy in bulk to bring the prices down. So you gotta put that into consideration. I wouldn't be mad at those other companies for the prices they charge because they gotta deal with shipping, they gotta deal with a middleman. Unless they're doing direct to consumer, they could bring the prices down a little bit, but they're probably dealing with smaller quantities than Walmart is. So you know, the smaller quantities you buy, the more expensive it is going to be per frame for them to develop, especially if they're doing completes. So it's going to be a higher total overall cost. And they have to be able to make some money. They pay their employees, pay for shipping, insurance, stuff like that. So that stuff eats away at your profit. So it goes into the price, the cost of the bike. Or else the business folds. No more frames, no more completes. But on the flip side, as a consumer, this is a great deal. This is a great deal. All right, I gotta make a left. Whew. Let's see what we got. What we got plenty of time to get across the street. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So this part here is like pretty much a downhill all the way. A little bit of a wind blowing against me, but that's alright. We'll throw it on one of the higher gears. So I can just coast down. Chill mode and still go fast. Yeah. Bootleg bike lane. Barely any shoulder. Woo. Actually, I don't think this one is a bike lane, but it is one of the recommended routes for a bicycle according to GPS. Whew. All right, so here flattened out a little bit and it's kind of gradually going up. We're still floating. Still floating. Whew. Oh yeah. Hitting some bumpy areas. Not hearing no chain slap. Not worried about my chain coming off if I hit too much of a bump. Just coasting. Woo. Yeah. Yeah, the bearings in the headset must be really nice because I can ride no-handed, no problem. Bike's not drifting left or right. It's all good. It's all good. Whew. Still have it in a relatively hard gear. And I should break it down a little something. There we go. That's a little better. Woo! All right, Service Road, Long Island Expressway. All right, take this for a block. For a bliggity block. Whew. No shoulder at all, and no sidewalk. That's the crazy part, there's no sidewalk. What if people are walking on this? to get to where they gotta go. Here's the sidewalk. Okay, light's green. There's one truck coming. That light's probably gonna change me when I get there. Yep. So now we move over. Whew. Make sure you're in the line of sight. So when you make your move, the car will see. Okay, so we're gonna try a track stand. Put my hands in this position. Oh gosh, this is terrible. I'm about to go down. They stopped. I'm gonna go. Whew. All right. Cutting across Long Island Expressway now. Yeah. Got the light. The other thing that's whack about this bike are the brake pads. The brakes themselves, I feel like they work just fine. But the brake pads, that's a whole nother story. They don't really stop you. They slow you down. Most definitely. You gotta put a lot of effort in to make them really, really stop you. But they don't really catch when you want them to catch, you know what I'm saying? Know what I mean? So you gotta be mindful of that when you're in a sticky situation where you gotta make a emergency stop, a quick stop, basic maneuvers, things like that. So here we are on the bootleg bike right now. This is a legit bootleg bike. How can you be legit and bootleg? Well, first, the way you do that is you don't change the infrastructure. You just use the shoulder that's already there. Put the bike lane signage on some poles and draw a little bike on a road with an arrow. Makes it legit and bootleg at the same time. Not a protected bike lane, so if somebody loses control, that's the problem. Somebody ain't paying attention, that's the problem. You wind up getting forced out into the road because there's an obstacle or something on the path, like all this gravel, which could have glass in it, which keeps you more to the left. You don't want to really ride in it and get a potential flat tire. And then there's that sidewalk over there that nobody really uses that could be made into a pedestrian / bike lane. Nobody really uses the sidewalk like that. But you do want to be out this far in relation to the sidewalk because there's a lot of blind spots on the driveways. A lot of driveway blind spots. So the closer you are to the driveway blind spot, the more potential you have to having a bad day. So either way, you still have to ride cautiously, keep that head on the swivel, be alert. But there's nothing but debris in this so-called bike lane. Another reason why a gravel bike is the better deal overall when commuting, in my opinion. I wouldn't want to go through all this gravel and stuff on a road bike with some super skinny tires. I'd rather this bike or, of course, my BMX bikes. or a mountain bike, dirt jumper or something. Woo! All right. Getting close to the train. Real close. And I've just been chilling. Haven't even been rushing. I'm just riding comfortably. No stress. It's just a nice chill ride to the train. Chill commute to the train on the G2. Ozark Trail G2. What? Rebel. What we got? Cars? We have no cars. Therefore, we shall go. When there's no cars, that's when we go. Another bootleg bike lane. This one's even skinnier. So there's no buffer for when somebody opens the door and these cars are on my right. No buffer. Door pops open. You either run into the door or go out in the street and hope for the best. Hope there's no car coming. And this is new. So the bike lane was an afterthought, basically. All right. So here we are at the train station. What time is it? Man, we got here dumb early. Just on some casual ride and stuff too. I'm definitely catching the train I wanted to catch. I thought I might not catch my train. But I'm gonna catch my train. That is a good look, homies. All right, y'all, so this bike right here is super official. I'm loving it. Second ride on it today. Did about 9 miles, 8 or 9 miles on it. And again, this bike definitely shines. It's dope. Did a great job on the ride today. Can't wait to do some more riding with it. Heading to the city now, so next video, I'll probably be dashing through the city on my G2. All right, so stay tuned for that. Back to you, Billy.